And welcome back, everyone. And thank you for joining so many people. Venerable Elizabeth, the director, is attending an interface meeting, so she will not be able to join that session. But I want to thank you again, Geshe Damdul, for giving these wonderful teachings. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold. I can welcome you all back for this fourth session. I will begin with the refuge and bodhicitta verse. I'll say this, and there's a little problem with the screen sharing for the time being. I'll say this, and then those of you who know this by heart, you can recite with me. And those who do not know, just reflect on the meanings. That is the purpose. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanye joda zoge jonam no chanjo bado dane gyalzo che dage jinso kebe sonam Tola benjere sanje dubare jo sanje joda zoge jonam no chanjo bado dane gyalzo che dage jinso kebe sonam Tola benjere sanje dubare jo sanje joda zoge jonam no Chanjo bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe sonamgi chola penjere sanje rubare sho. Okay, we'll recite the Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. As we recite this, just let us set a motivation in such a way that the study of the Heart Sutra, it is for to say, in the first place, before we think about others, we talk about others, let us keep in mind that I must make the greatest meaning out of this life, where I go from the state of the miseries to the state of fearlessness and freedom from miseries. I move from the state of lack of happiness to the greatest state of happiness. And with this mind, I keep in mind all the demonstration beings that it is only through the kindness of the beings that I can experience these two results. So with this in mind, to what extent you share your love and affection with others, to that extent, your happiness will be experienced. With this mind, wanting to experience the greatest happiness, wanting to share the greatest happiness with others, and yourself to experience the greatest happiness, it is only through transforming one's own mind from the state of full of the demerits, mistakes, limitations to the state of perfection. So with this mind, imagine that you are leading this and all beings are joining you, including your two parents, your children, everyone that you can think of, even the difficult people with you. Gate gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay. From what we have already studied the last 3 sessions, to a little bit of quick review, or the summary, to summarize what we have done thus far, is that looking at the flower, we see that there are 2 ways of looking at that same object, with your naked eyes and with the electron microscope. When we look at the same object more closely, there are 2 ways of looking at it. One, looking at it with the naked eyes, we see that the flower makes sense. Okay, here we see that on the altar we offer flowers. If we just see this just bunch of atoms, for sure we will not offer these to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. So we offer these bunch of atoms because we see these as beautiful flowers, not as the dirty flowers. As the beautiful flowers, we offer them to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And likewise, say some of you might have your breakfast or lunch and so forth. If you see them just as a bunch of atoms, then what's the difference between this bunch of atoms and the bunch of atoms of the rock? There's no difference. But because we see the bunch of atoms as food, we eat it, and one bunch of atoms we see as rock, we don't eat this. There's a distinction there. All these distinctions, good, bad, okay, the nice thing to be offered, not nice thing to be offered, wholesome, unwholesome, all these things, they happen on what is known as in our naked eyes, or in our ordinary perception. In other words, in this ordinary perception, everything is operating, all good, bad. So you do good things, you can expect happiness. You do bad things, don't expect happiness. For example, you consume cyanide, you'll die. You can't expect to become youthful. And you take the proper medication, it'll heal you. All these things happen. We cannot deny these reality. There's the functionality, the infallibility of the functionality operating the air. This is the undeniable fact. So within this, then this undeniable cause and effect relationship, the functionality operating, this is known as the law of karma, law of cause and effect, and more precisely the law of karma, that is operating. But when you go on the objective level to see whether things truly exist there, then from the objective level, we see that the flower doesn't make sense. The person doesn't make any sense. The way we did yesterday, Isabel said that when your sun, go into atomic level, the concept of the sun dissolves. Concept of your child dissolves. So on the objective level, then the concepts, they dissolve. On the subjective level, yes, everything smoothly operates. So with this in mind, what we learn is that finally, what is an object? It entirely depends on what kind of perception is taking place. Perception means it's purely subjective, purely subjective. From the object, there's nothing really there. It's purely subjective. Once you know that things are purely subjective, from the object, there's the flower doesn't exist. From the subject, yes, the flower exists. From the subject exists. In other words, from this, what we learn is everything exists subjectively. Now, when we go closer to the object, the flower disappears. So we see that in total, in summary, we learn that the object makes sense only through the perception to a mind. And the perception of the mind is of 2 kinds. One, which looks at the object, which inspects the object from distance, the way our eyes do, our ears do, our the common minds do. So these minds are known as conventional analysis. These minds are known as conventional analysis. Crossing this, when you see the flower and go to atomic level, then the flower doesn't make any sense. That mind which goes too close to the object, that is known as ultimate analysis. The mind which keeps distance, like the way our naked eyes does, these minds are known as conventional analysis. So since everything is the subjective real, the functionality, all these things, they exist in the eyes of the conventional analysis. Conventional analysis. So whereas with the ultimate analysis, what do you find? Well, you find the absence of true existence. We find the absence. They truly, from the object, there's nothing there. Absence of objective existence. This is what we find with the ultimate analysis. With the conventional analysis, what we find the functionality of the world, the beautiful functionality, infallible functionality of the world with the conventional analysis. In short, what we learn is that the same object behaves in two ways. The same object, what we call as flower, this object behaves in two ways. One, in the eyes of the conventional analysis, it appears as a flower. In the eyes of the ultimate analysis, it appears as absence of flower, absence of true flower. So the same object behaves in two ways. Likewise, I say we talk about COVID-19. Again, COVID-19 also, everything behaves in two ways. One is in the eyes of the conventional analysis, the object performs as COVID-19, as the remedy to COVID-19, COVID shield, or the Pfizer, and so forth. This is in the eyes of the conventional analysis. What is seen in the eyes of conventional analysis is known as conventional truth. What is seen by the ultimate analysis is known as ultimate truth. In other words, the same object behaves in two ways, as conventional truth and as ultimate truth. So how do you decide that the object behaves conventional truth or ultimate truth? That is decided by what mind you employ. If you employ the ultimate conventional analysis, you see it as a conventional truth. If you employ the ultimate analysis, you see this as the absence of true flower. That is the ultimate truth. For example, it is those of us who are familiar to the quantum mechanics, quantum physics, like how the electrons, they behave as wave or as particle. So how does it decide? What decides whether the electrons, they behave as particles or waves? That's all determined by how you do the experiment. That decides if it's a single slit, it behaves as a particle. With a double slit, it behaves as a wave. So it depends on what this object is all determined by your perception, the analysis. Which analysis do you employ? If you employ conventional analysis, you see this as flower, which is a conventional truth. If you employ the ultimate analysis closely, the flower is not there, which is from the object, there's no flower. This is what you've discovered. Absence of truly objectively existent flower. This is what you discovered. That is the ultimate truth. So the point is that we see the same object behaves in two ways. Everything behaves in two ways. In other words, everything has two truths. Everything has two truths. Okay, now with this in mind, let's turn to Heart Sutra. Let's turn to Heart Sutra, where we left from yesterday. Screen sharing. Thank you. Okay, here. What we read is that the Aravalokiteshvara is responding. Aravalokiteshvara is responding, where he said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates as empty of inherent nature. Inherent nature, true existence, objective existence, empty of objective existence, empty of inherent existence, they all mean the same. So this is how we should view the things. This is what Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara said it. Now, what's the same? What we said is that the same object behaves in two ways. Objectively, in the ultimate analysis, when you go too close to the object, there's nothing there to be identified as a flower from the object, as truly as the object, objectively as of object. There's nothing to be. And why do we have to know this? Why do we have to know this? This question. All our problems are because of the belief, like the nightmare is because of the belief, because of a belief that the dream, which is actually subjective real, seen as objective real, then the nightmare starts. So all our problems are rooted to the belief that things exist objectively. So as long as you have the belief that things exist objectively, the fears invariably arises. Undeniably, the fears arise. We cannot stop them. So these fears are all because of seeing things objectively real. What's the reality? If the reality is that if things truly exist objectively, there's no way, there's no freedom from the fears. The fears are, you have to accept it. Whereas good news is that nothing exists objectively. They're all like dream. Our job is to discover that things are all subjectively real. Once you discover that, just as you are freed from the nightmare, the fears created by the contents of the dream, and you're freed the moment you wake up, likewise, you wake up from the unconventional dream and the fears of samsara all stops. Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, lamentation, bewilderment, all these stop the moment we wake up from the sleep of ignorance, the unconventional dream. We wake up from that. So what is this unconventional dream? Unconventional dream is when you wake up, when in the waking state, what we call as the waking state. So there we continue to see everything is objectively real. In reality, this is totally deceptive. This is not the case. So this is what we have to discover. In other words, the flower exists. Everything exists. Don't say that studying Heart Sutra, I learned that nothing exists. No, everything exists. What doesn't exist? We are not asking, do things exist? So to really understand emptiness well, we must address these two questions. Only if you get two answers, two proper answers to these two questions, you are getting proper understanding. Otherwise, you fall into nihilism. The first question is, do things exist? If the answer is no, I studied Heart Sutra, it says nothing exists. You fall into nihilism. This is not the emptiness. So the first question is, do things exist? The flower, the person, your friend, samsara, nirvana, happiness, COVID-19, the vaccines, do they exist? If your answer is no, you fall into nihilism. So only if you say, yes, they exist, everything exists, the infallible functionality exists. Only if you are able to say that everything exists, then the second question is applicable to you. Second question is, how do things exist? If you say things exist objectively, you fall into absolutism, extreme of absolutism. Only if you say things exist subjectively, then you get the real understanding of emptiness. Things exist subjectively means things are empty of objective existence. Okay, this is what we should be going for. So with this understanding the two truths is so important, and particularly the Acharya Chandrakirti, I would highly recommend all of us to study Acharya Chandrakirti's text, Entry into the Middle Way. Entry in the Middle Way, this is the text that we have to study. There, he explained two truths in great detail. Okay, now, so what we learned is that, the flower has two truths. What we see the flower is that whenever we see the flower is truly existent. Now, learning the two truths, we come to learn that the flower is empty of objective existence. It exists subjectively. To know that the flower is empty of objective existence, all our tension will wake up from the dream and all our tensions dissolve. Okay, let me repeat it. When you know the two truths so well, related to the flower, related to the self, related to your friends, or anything else, let's say the flower, if you know that the first truth, that the ultimate truth, which means the ultimately, objectively, the flower is empty. When you know this, all your tension related to the flower will dissolve. Then the other one is conventional truth. If you know that the flower exists subjectively, flower exists subjectively, it exists infallibly. It exists infallibly, the flower exists subjectively. When you know that, then you can appreciate the flower. You appreciate the flower, you can offer this to the Buddhas, you can offer this to your friends, family members, and so forth. And by offering this to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, you accumulate merit. By offering this to your friends and families, they're so happy, and all the unnecessary conflicts will dissolve. There's so many benefits there. So the point is that with the same object, seeing the two truths will help us to remove our stress and anxiety and all the miseries. And by seeing the conventional truth of the flower, we engage in accumulating merits. We see the dependent origination, we accumulate merit, and this is how we follow the path Gade, Gade, Para, Gade, Para, Samgade, Bodhiswaha. Okay, so whereas unless we know the true truths, we are bound to believe the flower to be ultimately real, the flower to be objectively real. This is the indication that we believe in the dream to be real. As long as you hold on to the dream to be real, you continue to suffer. It is like holding a fire in your hand. If you hold a fire in your hand, what should you do? The fire will continue. It looks beautiful, but it will continue to burn you. What should you do? Let go of this. If you don't want to suffer the burn, let go of the fire. Let go of this ignorance, believing that things exist objectively, believing the dream to be real. We get to know. You don't go for blind faith that, oh, the Buddha said everything, nothing exists objectively, everything is subjectively. Don't go for this with blind faith. With blind faith, you will not get to anywhere. It must be done through a rational understanding. This is where the Buddha emphasized so much on the need for rational thinking, the study, reflection, and meditation. So with this in mind, the moment you realize the true truths of all the objects, then you can free yourselves by understanding the ultimate truth of the flower. All your tensions related to the flower will dissolve. You see the ultimate truth of your husband, your wife, your children, your parents, your colleagues, and so forth. All the tensions related to them will dissolve. And you see the conventional truth of everything, your friends, your children, your parents, and all the things. Then you appreciate the infallible dependent origination. And seeing this dependent origination, you will embrace all the factors dependent upon which your awakening or your happiness grows. You will embrace those causes. Okay, with this in mind, knowing the true truths is paramount importance. The text reads, form is empty, the flower is empty. Okay, the flower is empty. This is referring to the ultimate truth of the flower. The way the flower is seen, the form is seen by the ultimate analysis is empty. Okay. Does it mean is this nihilism? No, this is not nihilism. This is where we understand the emptiness or the ultimate truth. The second, emptiness is form. Emptiness is form. So what let's say that those from Kalachakra Center, and those who are not from Kalachakra Center. Let's say this is of two groups. Those from Kalachakra Center and those not from Kalachakra Center. Okay. Let's say that those from Kalachakra center, you look at this object, what I call as the flower, or what you call as a flower, you look at this through electron microscope, which means that you are employing the ultimate analysis. And those who are not associated with the Kalachakra center, you look at through your naked eyes, which is the metaphor for the conventional analysis. So those from Kalachakra center, you look at through your electron microscope, which is a metaphor for ultimate analysis. What do you see? You see no flower. Objectively, you go too close to object. Objectively, there's no flower, just the atoms. There's no flower. You see no flower. No flower means flower is empty. Whereas those associated with the Kalachakra center, you look at this object, you see it's a beautiful flower. Okay. Now look, let's not forget this. Then, okay. What do you agree with me? Okay, by the way, those who are associated with Kalachakra center, you raise hands. Associated, attended, you have seen the Kalachakra center in Paris. You raise hands. Okay, very good. Those who are not associated with Kalachakra center, or those who have never seen Kalachakra center in Paris, they raise hands. Okay, now those who are associated with Kalachakra center, imagine that you are looking at this object through electron microscope, and those who are not associated with Kalachakra center, you look at through your naked eyes. Now, do you agree with me that what those who are looking at this through naked eyes, what they see as a form, what they see as a flower, is what those from Kalachakra center would see as empty of flower. Those who employ the ultimate, those who employ the conventional analysis, they see this as a flower. Those who employ the ultimate analysis, they see this as empty of flower. So what the group A sees as flower is what group B sees as empty of flower. Flower is empty, form is empty. How many got it? Raise hands. Very good. Now, this is line one. Form is empty. Line two. What people from Kalachakra center who see there's no flower. They say that there's no flower, is empty. Flower is empty. What is seen as empty by the ultimate analysis is the same object is seen as flower by the conventional analysis. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is flower. How many got it? Raise hands. Very good. Very good. So now we see that what is seen by our naked eyes or conventional analysis as flower or form is what is seen as empty by the ultimate analysis. So this is the ultimate truth. The next is what is seen as emptiness by the ultimate analysis is seen as flower by the conventional analysis. This flower is the conventional truth. Number two, emptiness is form, emptiness is flower. This is conventional truth. Now, do you agree with me? Number three and number four is the way you need to again be more interactive with me, be attentive. Okay, what the Kalachakra center people see as emptiness is not different from what the people non-associated with Kalachakra center see as form. There's no difference. It's the same object. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay, if I ask this Kalachakra center people, what is this? They will say that's emptiness. There's no, the flower is empty. Okay, I ask the same thing to those people who are not associated with Kalachakra center, who employ conventional analysis. What is it? They will say that this flower, the same object what Kalachakra center people say as a known flower, empty, flower is empty, is what the people from others will say as this is a flower. So it's the same object. The two are describing the same object. Okay, it is like, let's say, okay, let's say, okay, okay, Virginia, what is your mother's name? Virginia, what is your
Roland.
mother's name? Huh?
Roland.
Holondo. Okay, Holondo. And then Virginia, what is your grandmother's name? Your mother's name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle. Okay, Gabrielle. Okay, so it is like saying that if I ask Gabrielle, who's Holondo, she will say that this is my daughter, right? If I ask Virginia, who's Holondo, she said, this is not my daughter, this is my mom. Same person will be seen in two different forms. Same person. Likewise, the same object, ultimate analysis will say that this is empty of flower. Conventional analysis will say that this is flower. There's no contradiction. So the same object is seen in two different ways. And it's not that they should be two different people. You should be the one. You should be the one who should be able to have the ultimate analysis to see that the flower is empty objectively. You should be the one to have the conventional analysis to see that there's a flower there. Subjectively exists a flower there. The same person should have the two minds, of course, at different times. So what's the benefit? The benefit is that when you see that there's a flower, the flower is empty from objectively it is empty. When you have this ultimate analysis, the benefit is that all the problems associated with flower, because seeing the flower is real, the dream flower is real, then all this obsession, craving, anger, stress, depression, they will all dissolve. With the conventional analysis that you have, but dependence on the factors like causes, conditions, my eyes, and so forth, my perception, the flower comes into being. There's a flower there. This is not a garbage. This is a flower. You can make a distinction. So this distinction made by the conventional analysis. With this conventional analysis, you appreciate a flower. Because there's a flower, you want to offer it to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, you want to offer it to your parents, you want to offer it to your friends. So on the same, because of which we see that our mind within the mind, there's a pool of emotions. Some are very destructive and some are very constructive. When somebody says that, how are you? How are you? In a very gentle, affectionate way, instantly you will feel the calmness. Although the person made a mistake, other person made a mistake, you want to shout at the person, and the person comes and said, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I assure you that it will not happen next time. And if there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know. Besides this, anything I can be of some help. Just by the tone of the person, there's a calmness happening within you. There's another set of, let's say, the emotions, which are so destructive. How dare you do this? You are so selfish person. The moment you say this, what is the emotion state there? What's the feeling inside? Very unpleasant feeling. In other words, within your mind, we see that there are two categories of the emotions. One which is very destructive, which consumes your immunity and which makes your blood actually clot within the body. And whereas there's another set of the emotions which gives you such ease of mind and your immunity is boosted. There are two categories. And the set of the emotions which are destructive, the root is the ignorance, seeing things as objectively real. Nightmare in the dream. That's very destructive because of believing the dream is real. Very destructive. So all these destructive emotions, which actually destroy your peace of mind, they're rooted to this ignorance. Whereas all the, let's say, the constructive emotions, particularly the deeper, more subtle constructive emotions, they're grounded on the wisdom. To see that the flower does not exist objectively, it does exist by dependent origination, by subjective imputation. Objectively, there's nothing there. Subjectively, things exist by dependence on other factors. So with this, all your virtues grow, and the virtues give rise to happiness. And the destructive emotions, as they subside, destructive emotions otherwise give rise to pains, all pains subside. So with this, the experience of emptiness is seen as a tea strainer. The job of the tea strainer is let freely flow the drinkable tea, and the hold back the tea residue. So likewise, the experience of emptiness, knowing the two truths through the experience of emptiness, then what happens is that you know the emptiness side through the ultimate analysis. You see the emptiness of the flower, all the destructive emotions given rise to the pains in you will stop. And then, because of seeing the subjective existence of the flower, subjective existence of things through dependent origination, all your virtues will freely flow. And the virtues, the result is happiness. Happiness multiplies. And the result of the ignorance, ignorance is tension, misery, depression, they will all subside. Okay, so knowing this benefit, then we see that form is empty, emptiness form. Emptiness not other than form, form is also other than not emptiness. Okay. So with this, what we have learned is that on the we agree that in all our problems, okay, I want at least three people to volunteer to share some of the problems in your life, problems, you know, which you don't like, and it happens. I don't like this. Okay, quick. I want 3 volunteers. Very quick. Very quick. 3 volunteers to share your experience of the problems. Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Okay, Isabel. Oh, this is good. Virtual hand. If you raise, you just come on the top automatically. Isabel?
Okay. Well, sometimes I find myself in a group of people, and I find them very adapted to the very intelligent somehow, an intelligence that I feel I don't have, and I start feeling very, very contracted and very small.
Okay. When I'm not too sure if I got it fully. Is it that, you know, when you meet with other people who are very, very intelligent and very smart, then you feel that you are insignificant, you don't know anything, you feel contracted and small? Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Isabel. Anyone else? Very good. Quick to save time. Okay. There again, Virginia. There's another Virginie. There's another Virginie. Did you raise hand? Did you raise hand? No. Okay. Okay. You those of. Okay, Virginia. Yes.
Les problèmes de
Virginia,
santé?
chat manager. Yes. Health problems. Whose health problem? Your dad's health problem? Dad's health problem or your mom's health problem? Which health problem? Virginia?
Les miens.
Mine, okay. Mine health problem. Okay. Isabel?
La perte d'être cher de ses proches, la mort de ses proches.
Oh, who? Say it again.
La perte de,
Okay,
des gens que
when you
l'on
lose the close people of your neighbor? When you lose the close people of your neighbor or the close people of the American president?
Ses enfants, son mari, ses parents, quoi. Les proches, quoi.
No. I know. I'm asking this to Isabel. You ask this. You ask her, is it the close people of the president of the America or the president of the France? Who's close people?
Bah de moi, mes proches à moi.
Mine. Okay, mine. Okay, Melanie.
Hello. Okay, so for me, I have problems with the conventional type of people where they are very superficial and I don't connect with them. And I have issues because I feel I'm not able to find balance between conventional and ultimate. If you talk about perception of
Not being
nature.
able to find the balance between the ultimate and the
No.
convention.
Yeah, so I
Okay,
am very secluded and I'm hiding from everybody. And I don't know if there's
so
a
not being
balance.
able to find the balance between the ultimate and conventional
Yes.
by your neighbors.
Everybody.
Your neighbors' failure. Who?
Everyone, Geshe-la, it's pretty much
No, what I'm
everyone.
saying is, no, what that problem is that are you concerned about the other people not finding the balance, so therefore they're suffering?
No, I am not able to accept and I'm not
Okay,
able to find it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, sir. Yeah, I thought you were talking about somebody else. It's I. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ellen? Yes, Ellen. Did you raise hand? Yes.
Ah, oui, le fait de vieillir, tout simplement. Getting old, older and older each day.
Who? Me?
Me.
Yeah, I'm getting older. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, not Dorji.
Yeah,
Not
I,
the world.
I.
Okay. Did you all notice? Did you all notice that all these 4 or 5 people, they came up with their own unique problems, and these problems are all associated with one thing, I. Right? I. Okay. There's nothing wrong with this. I don't think that, you know, oh, that's true. I'm so bad. I was always thinking about I. Don't worry about it. What I'm saying is that finally what we don't want is we don't want problems. When you go to do shopping, we are not thinking of, oh, I should go to shop so that I have to buy clothes for the president of France, president of America, like this. For me, my children, my family, my friends, it's all about me, I, and mine. There's nothing wrong in it. Don't feel that this is wrong. Don't feel that this I, of course, is very important if you're wise. If you're not wise, it can be very destructive. This sense of I. Okay, now let me put it like this. Finally, we all do not want to have problems. When we go to any center, for example, there are many people here who are associated with Tibet House, and there are many people who are associated with Kalachakra Center. So when you associate with some center, when you first go there, I'm sure I can give you with my signature that nobody went to Kalachakra Center, nobody came to Tibet House saying that I have so much happiness, please teach me how to get into my happiness. Nobody went to the center with this. 100%, I can give you my signature. Blind signature, I can give you that. Okay, which means that we have some problems. We go to these centers, we go to this, that, and so forth, expecting that problem should be solved for me. And don't feel don't feel that something's wrong with me, I'm so selfish. No, this self is very important if you're wise. So the point is that the sound of a clap. Okay, let us all put our hands out, stretch out our hands, 2 hands out. Okay, 2 hands out, and do what I'm doing. Do what I'm doing. Good. What happened? The sound erupted. This sound is the sound of the 2 hands coming together. One hand is symbolic of the self, I. Other hand is symbolic of other factors. All the other factors, when in combination with I, then the sound of misery erupts. My problem, my health, my close and near and dear ones, I'm getting old, and so forth is all about, and then my not finding the balance between the conventional ultimate. So it's all about I. Okay, now the thing is that this I, if you remove it, then there's only the external factors, no sound. No sound. Growing old, but if the I is not there, it's fine. Growing old is becoming wiser. When I was younger, I used to be quite strict. Now, Tibet House staff, even if they make mistakes, I pretend as though I have not seen them. I've become wiser now. Because if I shout every mistake the staff makes, I shout, no staff will remain. Everybody will leave and I'll be left alone. So I should be wiser. Now I'm wiser. So with the age, I'm getting older, but if this I, if that is not there, then it becomes like the sound of one hand, no sound. Sound of the misery starts. So what should we do? How should we get rid of this I? We cannot get rid of the I. This I is always there. This I is the reality. But we can do something. We can see the distortion of our thinking related to the I. This I does exist, but it doesn't exist as objectively real. It exists subjectively. The problem is not because of the I. Problem is because of misperceptions of I as objectively real. For example, in your dream, when you see somebody who comes to harm you in the dream, you see the dream person, the dream harmer, perpetrator, as a real perpetrator, and then the anger erupts. Whereas you come to know that the dream perpetrator is my dream, your anger dissolves. So this problem is not because of the I, it's because of the misperception of the I to be objectively real. Now what can we do? We can dissolve this misperception of the I. How? To see the I as empty of objective existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. I am empty, emptiness is I. I am not different from emptiness, emptiness not different from I. You apply this to the I. If you are successful in this application, guaranteed your problems will dissolve. If you succeed in diminishing this misperception of the I, 50% of your problems will dissolve. So this is how it works. Now, how can I dissolve this misperception of the I? So just as this flower, we subject this flower to ultimate analysis to going to the atoms, we can go to the self, subject the self, I, to the ultimate analysis. How to apply this ultimate analysis? Just so we subject this flower to ultimate analysis by going to the atoms, we subject the self to ultimate analysis by going to the parts of the self. What are the parts of the self? The 5 aggregates, the 6 elements, the 12 sources, then the 18 elements. We can go through the different parts of the self. First, let's say the 5 aggregates. What are the 5 aggregates? I'm sure many of you already know that. Aggregate, I will not go into too detail. Aggregate of form, which is the body that we have. Aggregate of feeling, the feeling that we have. Okay, I'm happy, I'm not happy. The feeling of discrimination, the ability to distinguish things. Oh, get this flower, this not. Okay, now it is this is the 4th session. Now we have only 1 session more. So this, or if I think that there are like 20 sessions, actually there are 5 sessions. If I think that there are 20 sessions, which is total misperception. And if I think this, then I'll not go that fast. I'll go very slow. And then the next day, Venerable Elizabeth will say that, Geshe, now today, how are you going to finish the Heart Sutra? This is the last session. No, there are 20 sessions. She will say, no, only 5. This 5th one, the last one. Okay, misperception. So this distinguishing things, that we have this ability to distinguish things. Okay, only 5 sessions, not 20 sessions. This is a flower, this is not a garbage. Okay, this is the people. Everybody has a seed of the perfection, Buddha nature. Then anybody can be changed from, say, the bad person to good person. And the that one can grow, I can transform. I should not underestimate myself. Even I also have the seed of perfection. I can also be a child of a lineage. Okay, this is a discrimination. Then the next one is the composition factors. All other mental functions are there, and the consciousness, primary mind. So this is what we are made of. And in more simple terms, we are also made of 6 elements. And earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness. Earth, the solid part, the bones, the heart, lungs, all the solid parts, the element earth. Water, the blood, 4 liters of blood that we have, the element of water. Element of fire, the body heat, 2,500 joules of energy that we have. This is the element of fire. Then the element of air, 4.6 liters of air that we breathe in and out. This is the element of air. Then a space, 99.9% of our body is hollow, is empty. That's a space. And the consciousness, the mind that we have, I'm happy, I'm not happy. This is the consciousness. So we know that we are just made of these 6 elements. And besides these 6 elements, there's nothing as a cell. This flower, undeniably there's a flower there. When you go into the atomic level, on the atomic level, none of the atom is a flower. You remove the atoms, nothing is left there as a flower. Likewise, the self. These are 6 elements there, which, so because of the element of earth, water, fire, air, space, keeping aside the consciousness, the body part, the body, the first 5 elements constitute the body. So on the basis of the body, we classify ourselves as males and females. On the basis of the mind, we classify ourselves as kind, not kind, intelligent, not intelligent, wise, not wise, and so forth. So besides these 2 qualities, male, female, and so forth, and then the happiness, not happy, the wise, not wise, and so forth. Besides these 2, there's nothing there, so Dorji, that's it. Okay, so with this in mind, we see that this self, the way the flower is seen, mere perception, even the self can be seen as mere perception, subjective perception. Because when you go into its the ultimate analysis, when we subject the self to ultimate analysis into the 6 elements, then the self dissolves. Just 6 elements are left. 6 elements are not the self, not different from the 6 elements of the self. So no way is there to be seen as objectively a self there. Okay, so now what is left? We are left with the 5 aggregates. Even each of the aggregates, even the aggregates are also, if we subject the aggregates, aggregate form, again we see that there's also in the ultimate analysis, even the form also disappears. So what we learned is form is empty. That is, not only the self dissolves. In the ultimate analysis, the self is seen as empty of objective existence. Even the aggregates which constitute the self, even the aggregates, one by one, the 5 aggregates, the first one is aggregate form. So we said form is empty, the text. The form is empty, emptiness form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. That is related to the first aggregate. And first, some people may think that, okay, on this flower, say you go into the ultimate analysis, you end up seeing the atoms. Although the flower is not, but the atoms are there. This is also deception. Because even the atoms, if you subject them to ultimate analysis, even they will disappear. Likewise, the self. When the self is subject to ultimate analysis, you end up seeing the 5 aggregates. The way the flower, you end up seeing the atoms. The self, you end up seeing the 5 aggregates. What are the aggregates? Anybody raise hands? What are the 5 aggregates? Quick. Okay. Mary, Henry. Mary, Henry, no. Okay. Manjari. Unmute, please unmute.
Thank you, Geshe. So the 5 are form, sensations, perception, mental activity and consciousness.
Okay, Manjari, thank you so much. What Manjari said is perfect. Is a matter of the English translation. There's a variation in English translation. Number one is form, that is the same. Number two, what we translate as the feeling. Manjari translate it as sensation. This is little problematic. There are many translations with this sensation. The sensation is more applicable to the physical feeling, not the mental feeling. So the aggregate of feeling, it must incorporate the physical and mental both. So better it is to translate as feeling rather than sensation. There are many translations which translate the feeling as the sensation. Number two. Number three is the Manjari said perception. A perception again is not a good translation. The better translation is either discrimination or distinguishing, differentiation, or discrimination. Perception is very loose translation. It's very loose. Perception may not be discrimination. So better translation would be discrimination. Then the next one is compositional factors. Number four is composition factors. Then number five is consciousness. Okay. Please keep in mind that when we learn something, of course, we have to learn through the vocabularies. And the vocabularies in English, the English translators, they borrow from the English. So how good are the translators? That double check. Don't just take for granted that okay, this is the book. This is the book, and this is the translation. And translation, the translator is involved. So translators' knowledge, it really depends on the translator's knowledge of the language and also the subject matter. So oftentimes when the translator's subject matter is lacking, then the literal translation takes place, the deeper meanings can be lost. So this is where we should be a little careful to in future, make sure that with the whatever books that you read, make sure that if you find alternative translators, try to double check as to which of the two would be of, say, the more accurate. Okay, good. Thank you. Manjari, what you said is correct. The 5 aggregates. These things are those of us here who are totally new to this. We should be a little hurry. There's no choice. We have to go through. But if you associate with the Kalachakra Center, I would highly recommend you to find yourself and double check. There is Geshe there, and the Venerable Elizabeth is there, and then many senior students are there. You learn from them. And then those who are not associated with Kalachakra Center, you can write to Tibet House. We'll be happy to provide you with the materials. Okay, good. The 5 aggregates. So now, what is said in the text? In the text, what is said is form is empty. Of the 5 aggregates, aggregate form is already applied to this. How I apply this to the self? The self is empty, emptiness self. Likewise, we go through each of the aggregates. The first one is the aggregate form. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Now, the next line reads, in the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. So just as you applied the 4 lines to the form, you applied these to in the same way you applied these to the feeling. Feeling is empty. Emptiness is feeling. Feeling is not other than emptiness. Emptiness is not other than feeling. Likewise, discrimination. Discrimination is empty. Emptiness is discrimination. Emptiness is not different from discrimination. Discrimination is not different from emptiness. Likewise, composition factors. Likewise, consciousness. This is how we have to apply. What you got? Next. The text reads that, okay, Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Okay. So now before we go through these, I need to give you a quick on the overview of what is known as the 5 paths. 5 paths to achieve the Buddhahood. Gade, Gate, Paragate, Parasangade, Bodhiswaha, the 5 paths. The 5 paths. The first one is path of accumulation. There are many who are very advanced students in the Dharma. I'm sure there are some who are new to this. Those who are new, and I'm sharing this with you, particularly for you. Those who are already advanced, they don't need this. And so I request those who are more advanced to be a little patient in order to help the newcomers. Okay, the 5 paths to enlightenment. The way we read Gade, the first one, second Gade, then third Paragade, fourth Parasangade, number 5 Bodhiswaha. 5 are there. So the first one is the path of accumulation. These are the technical things that we have to learn. Path of accumulation. Number 2 is path of preparation. Number 3 is path of seeing. Number 4 is path of meditation. Number 5 is path of normal learning. Let me repeat it. Path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, path of normal learning. Okay, these are the 5 paths. And I'm going to quickly explain what each of these 5 paths refer to, or what do they mean. The first one is path of accumulation. What we said is this morning, we said that may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. How will you become a Buddha? The seed of Buddhahood is within us. Like saying, no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, you can't expect oil coming out of that. Whereas if you squeeze a handful of sunflower seeds, yes, oil will come out. The difference lies in the fact that sunflower seeds has the potential of oil inside. Likewise, although we committed ourselves, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, can we really become a Buddha? Can we really become the fully awakened one? It depends on whether or not you have the seed. Do we have the seeds? 100%, everyone has the seed of perfection. Whether you're male or female, no difference. Whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, no difference. Whether you're from, whether European or non-European, no difference. Everyone, as long as you have a mind, you have the seed of perfection. So because of this, the Buddha is so emphatic that everyone is equal. There's nobody who's inferior. Everyone is equal. And particularly at the time of the Buddha, there was a tremendous discrimination against the gender, against the females. There's a tremendous discrimination. The gender discrimination was there at the time of the Buddha. And the Buddha so courageously stood up to say that nobody is inferior, everyone is equal. What made him such a confidence to say that everyone is equal? What made him so confident is because that he has discovered this seed of perfection within everyone, the male, females, all. With this, if I have this seed of perfection, why should I underestimate myself? I must work hard. I must know the way by which to make this seed blossom. Okay, how to make it blossom? How to make it blossom is because the seed is there. It is like the gold mixed with the mud. The nature of the gold is to glow, but it doesn't glow. There's a gold there. You will say that, no, there's no gold. Nothing's glowing there. And the gold experts will say that, no, he will just pick up something solid from there, from the mud, say, this is gold. And you say, this is mud. And the gold, what will he do? He will remove the dirt. He will remove the mud from the gold. As the mud is removed more and more, then what is inside will start to glow. Okay, so what did he do? To prove that there's gold inside, he separated the mud and the gold. Likewise, we have to prove that we have the seed of perfection. How do we do that? We have to remove the dirt, the mud from our mind. Remove the mud, there are 5 stages. The first stage is known as path of accumulation. And the remaining for the 4. So the first one is, why is it known as path of accumulation? It's because that you are trying to make this gold come out fully. Or in other words, you are trying to make the castle of the Buddhahood. Castle of the Buddhahood. To make the castle of the Buddhahood, first you need to gather the materials. You need to accumulate the materials. Gather the materials, the cement, the steel, the bricks, all these things you have to gather. So the first stage is known as path of accumulation. Accumulating the materials required to achieve Buddhahood. The wisdom, to accumulate the wisdom, and accumulate merit. These 2 are required as materials to attain Buddhahood. This is known as the path of accumulation. Next is path of preparation. Before we go to before we go to path of preparation, we jump to path of seeing. Number 3, path of seeing. These mental defilements have to be removed. The process of removing the mental defilements is known as the paths. P-A-T-H-S, paths. So these mental defilements are to be removed, and then the castle of the Buddhahood will come out. The gold of the Buddhahood will come out. To remove the mental defilements, you need to know the nature of the mental defilements. And the nature of the mental defilements, they're all rooted to ignorance or the subtle stains of the ignorance. To remove the ignorance, it is only through introducing the wisdom. And which wisdom? Wisdom, they are wisdom which sees the reality directly, and the wisdom which sees the reality conceptually. There are 2. So I'll say that somebody tells me that, okay, you are suffering from tuberculosis. You need the medicines. What are the medicines like? Asuniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, and so forth. Okay, you need these medicines. What are these medicines like? And then the person will draw. This is ethambutol is like this. Rifampicin is like this. Asuniazid is like this. Will draw. These are just a drawing. These are not the medicines. But you get the idea. So what you will do, you take this with the labels, the names, then you go to the pharmacy, then you get the real medicines. These real medicines will help you to remove the tuberculosis. So the real wisdom, the wisdom to see emptiness directly, they are like the real medicines. So the third path is known as the path of seeing the reality directly, seeing the ultimate reality directly. This is the actual medicine to remove our mental defilements. Now, going back to the path of preparation. Path of preparation is the path which prepares you to get this actual medication, to get this path of seeing, which prepares you to see the ultimate reality directly. That is the path of preparation. Okay. Is there anybody from the medical side? Is there anybody from medical profession? Okay, Dr. Patrick, yes. Okay, Dr. Patrick, let us all listen to me. Imagine that each one of you are like me. Say, I'm suffering from tuberculosis. Each one of us. And then the Dr. Patrick says, Dorji, don't worry. Don't worry. Your problem will be over. How it will be over? Okay, then he brings ethambutol, rifampicin, asuniazid. He brings all these medicines. So okay, take these medicines and you will be all right. Your problem will be over. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Then I take the medicine the next day. And day 3 or day 2, I go to Dr. Patrick again. Dr. Patrick, you said if I take these medicines, my problem will be over. I still have the problem. I took the medicine. Okay. Did you all agree with me that I took the medicine? Yesterday I took the medicine. Today I'm not. Today I'm still not, recovered. So Dr. Patrick, You promised me that my problem will be over if I take the medicine. I took the medicine yesterday. So, Dr. Patrick, what will you say? Let us listen to Dr. Patrick.
Yes, you must be patient because the treatment needs some time.
The treatment is some time. Okay, so I took the medicine yesterday, then I'll wait for the next 2 days.
Yes, but the treatment needs 6 months to be effective.
Okay, so what Dr. Patrick is saying is that, yes, this medicine, if you take the medicines, your problem will be over, but this medicine you have to take for 6 months. Every day for 6 months. You have to repeat this medicine for 6 months. How many agree with Dr. Patrick? Raise hands. Very good. Which means you already agreed with Dr. Patrick. Which means that you have seen emptiness directly once. Don't be satisfied with that. Repeat this. Repeat this. Repeat this not only for 6 months, 6 lifetimes. Repeat this. This is known as meditation, part of meditation. After part of seeing, next comes the part of meditation. Repeating what you have seen, emptying the ultimate reality that you've seen directly. Don't be complacent with this. Repeat it over and over and over again. That is known as the path of meditation. If you repeat it for 6 months, what's happened? Then your tuberculosis will be over. If you repeat it for like, okay, I don't know, 6 months or 6 years or 6 lifetimes, I'm not too sure. But if you repeat it adequately, then your mental defilements will be over, and the goal inside of the perfection of the Buddhahood will glow perfectly well, and your mind will flow to every atom of the universe without any obstructions. That is when you feel the ultimate ease and the total fearlessness. That is known as the path of no more learning. The fifth one. No more learning. At that point, you don't have to learn anything. You have learned everything. You have accomplished your ultimate goal. That is a part of no more learning. The 5 parts. Now, okay, how many of you are happy with the 5 parts explained thus far? Raise hands. Okay, good. If you're happy, we'll continue with the text. Now it's going to be a little technical. Not too technical, but we also need to include the technicalities. Text. Okay, so what it says here is Shariputra. Therefore, in emptiness. Okay, before that, line 2 up there. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased. Okay, so here Shariputra, the line 2, Shariputra. This is indicating the spiritual realizations when you reach the path of seeing, the third path, Gate, Paragate. When you reach the path of seeing, Paragate level, this is what is explained here. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty. In your experience, you will directly see the emptiness of all phenomena without characteristic of good, bad, and so forth, without intrinsic, objective characteristic, unproduced, unceased. We see that things are produced, things stop. For example, 2019, the COVID is produced. Now to 2021 ending, COVID is subsiding to a great extent. And then alongside COVID subsiding, 2021 is also going away, now finishing. Now 2022 is arising. So arising, ceasing determines the world, the universe. So because of this, in the process, our emotions are stirred. Our emotions stirred into anxiety, stress, and so forth. When we encounter with things being produced, things being seized, things being produced, for example, like, the bad things happening to me. Now I'm having the COVID, the health issue is being produced, or my good health is ceasing. There's tension in the air. They say I'm lucky that now I won the lottery. I become richer. The wealth is being produced. My poverty is decreased, ceased. Again, we become arrogant. All the emotional stirs happen because of seeing things that are produced and seized, seeing things as objectively produced and objectively seized. So Shariputra, Avalokiteshvara advised all of us that when we have to prepare ourselves to reach the path of seeing by seeing things as objectively unproduced, objectively unseized. Objectively, there's nothing which is being produced, nothing which is being seized. You have to maintain the balance of your emotions. Next is stainless, not without stain. My mind is stained with afflictions. Buddha's mind is stainless. So again, we see that my mind is objectively stained. Buddha's mind is objectively stainless. Again, with this, seeing things objectively real as something with stain, without stain, again, our emotions fluctuate. So it says, objectively, there's no stain. Objectively, there's no freedom from stain also. Stainless, not without stain. Not deficient, not fulfilled. Okay, not deficient. They say that, for example, let's say that, okay, I have so much of I'm not at all deficient of my limitations. I have so much of limitations, and that person has so much good things. There's so much fulfillment, but objectively, when we see the things as objectively deficient or objectively fulfilled, even that does not. With the bad things, say not deficient of the bad things, and the good things as fulfilled, even these don't really exist as objectively. So that is the related to the part of seeing. The next one is the stainless, not without stain. Then not deficient, not fulfilled. The next one is Shariputra. Therefore, Shariputra, so from this line, it's related to the practice, primarily related to the path of meditation. After part of seeing, next part of meditation. So, Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there's no form, no feeling. Okay, now, what we have is that this is fine. This is fine. We have a handout. The handout which we did, which I did this morning, and Venerable Jimbala translated this into French. He also prepared the handout. This we will see that if we get a little time, but is already available there. And the English, our program coordinator will send it to you through the chat. Yeah, you can get it because what is there in the handout, this actually to be discussed here in this, and you'll get a better picture. But we'll just quickly show that on the screen. Okay, so for the part of meditation, primarily for the part of meditation, it says that Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness meaning in the light of ultimate analysis. In the light of ultimate analysis, the five aggregates are empty, the way explained before. There's no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no competent factors, no consciousness. Okay, five aggregates. The next, no eye, no ear, no nose, and so forth. And these are the five objects that we interact with. And in fact, these are all related to our, say, what stimulates emotions within us, disturbing emotions within us: attachment, anger, jealousy, craving, tension, depression, anguish. What triggers these? They are being indicated here. And actually, let's say that the no form, no feeling. It's not. The form is there, feeling is there, but what is there? No form. It's no objective form. To see the form is not a problem. To see the form is objectively real is a problem. For example, when you wake up, you can remember the dream tiger, the dream ghost, but it does not scare you because you know that these are just subjectively real. The dream tiger per se does not scare you. Only when you believe the dream tiger to be real, then it scares you. Likewise, all these things mentioned here, there's no problem when you see these things. But when you see these things objectively real, not like a dream, it's a problem. So it says, in other words, the best of the advice is that we should be able to be mindful. First, we have to know that nothing exists objectively, everything's like dream. Once you know this, try to maintain this awareness, the mindfulness, that everything is like a dream. With this in mind, then you will least be affected by the external factors pertaining to your emotions. Okay, so it says, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body. Okay, no mind. These are related to the six sense sources: eye sense sources, eye sense source, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mental sense source. Even these are all the empty of true existence. No visual form. Now the 12. The 12 we call it the sources, 6 objects and the six sense sources. No visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object touch, and no phenomena. Okay, the once in a while, just try when you eat food. Okay, what is this? This is pizza. Let's say pizza. Okay, yes, pizza, but just try sometimes and see the effect of this. And particularly if there is something which you really like, which you are extremely crazy about, think of that, and then you put it in the plate and you look at it. Oh, this is so nice. Then think of this in terms of the atoms. It's just a bunch of atoms. And then what is your emotional reaction? Your earlier feeling of excitation subsides. Just see. If possible, try to do this as much as possible. Particularly things you like. You try to think of these, and then see. Eventually, they see if your emotional emotional attachment to these objects gradually stop on their own. For example, say alcohol, the alcoholics, there's a problem. It's a huge problem. And then when we go to, when we go to the rehabilitation centers, it's so painful. You're forcing ourselves to stop these emotions, forcing ourselves. Now, with this meditation, just do this and see that without forcing ourselves, there's a natural subsiding of our afflictions. The fear subside. What creates the fear? Again, see that in the light of atoms or whatever, and see how your emotions, the fears, how they react, they subside. The moment you feel that it is actually working, don't stop there. Try to do it more, and then then it is high time for you to really be serious in the deeper studies, more extensive studies, reflection, and meditation on emptiness. Particularly the text by Acharya Chandragati, the Master Chandragati, Entry into the Middle Way. You must study this. If you feel that this meditation, it helps, just a brief meditation for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, think about the pizza in the atoms, the pizza dissolves, just stay in this experience. And how is your emotions? What is happening within you? Physiologically, you could feel that some disturbance, a very subtle disturbance subsides. You could feel that. Over time, when you feel that, then don't stop there. Continue, and that experience will become stabilized. Where they say the attachment, anger, the becoming, the being very moody, they will all automatically gradually stop on their own. Naturally. You don't have to force yourself. To stop these things. This is so precious. Okay. Text. Okay. It reads, there's no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element. So now we are talking about the 18 elements. 18 elements. And okay, just quickly to share with you what these 18 elements, 12 sources, what they are. I'll just give you show you the list there, and later you can download it. You can copy this for your own use. Okay, the first we have the 5 aggregates. Aggregate form, feeling, discrimination, combination factors, consciousness. The next 12 sources, 12 sense sources, form, sound. Okay, actually better would be, instead of sense sources, we should say 12 sources. 12 sources. Sense sources only relate to the number 7 and down, 7 through to 12. The form, sound, smell, taste, tactile, object, the 6 objects, the phenomena, and then the 6 sense sources. Eye sense source, ear sense source, nose sense source, tongue sense source, body sense source, mental sense source, 12. These are the 12 sources. Next, 4 noble truths, which we already discussed: the truth of suffering, the truth of cause of suffering, truth of cessation of suffering and its cause, through the path leading to this cessation of suffering. Then the 12 links of dependent origination. Okay, 18 elements is not given there. Okay, 18 elements. We also need to include the 18 elements. 18 elements is not really difficult. It is the 6 objects. 6 objects. The 12 there, 12 already there, 12 sources, plus the 6 consciousnesses. The form seen by the eye consciousness, the sound heard by the ear consciousness, the smell by the nose consciousness, the taste by the tongue consciousness, the tactility by the body consciousness, and the phenomena by the mental consciousness. In other words, 6 objects, 6 senses, and the 6 consciousnesses. 6 into 3 equals 18. These are known as the 18 elements. Okay, in other words, this whole universe is made of 18 elements. This whole universe is made of 18 elements. And if you are able to see that none of the 18 elements exist objectively, they're all dreamlike, you did a great job. That you are leaving no stone unturned pertaining to eradicating your afflictions. Okay, so with this in mind, continuing from the text, from the Heart Sutra. Okay, I mean, yes, Heart Sutra. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object touch, no phenomenon. In other words, they're all to be seen like a dream. Nothing exists as objective. No here is no objective sound. Just add this word objective or true. No truly existing sound, no truly existing smell, and so forth. There's no eye element and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. So which means that the 6 objects, the 6 senses, and the 6 mental consciousnesses, there is no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance. So we, the ordinary beings, we are full of ignorance, and the Buddhas, they are freed of all the ignorances. So even what we say is, we have ignorance, but we don't have independent, we don't have the, say, objectively, we don't have the ignorance. Even this ignorance is also dependent originated, they are not independently real. So even this can be gotten rid of. No extinction of ignorance. The Buddha has extinguished ignorance, but even that is not truly real extinguishing of ignorance. Even that is through dependent origin. We can also reach that level, and so on, up to including no aging and death. No aging and death. This and ignorance. This is about the 12 links, and the 12 links I have we have included this. In the handout, the 12 links are there. 12 links of dependent origination, and this says in this book. This book is extremely handy. This book is still not yet found in the market. This is published by Tibet House, and if you want to have a soft copy, you can get free soft copy. You can download it for free. You will not find this in the market as of yet. So this is very important book, and towards the end, there are several editions. Towards the end, there's one section on the the Wheel of Life, which is on page 318. Wheel of Life. In this Wheel of Life, in this we see that in this we see the 12 links of dependent origination. Okay, so there I'm showing this, and on the screen sharing, also see that wheel of life. It has the 12 links, and the explanations are all given here. All the 12 links explanations are given here. You can freely download them, and you will get. If you don't know how to copy this, you either send a mail to Tibet House, or you send a mail to Venerable Elizabeth La, or the Venerable Jimbala. They will help you to download this for you. Okay, so these are 12 links. In other words, 12 links, they tell us how we involuntarily suffer in samsara and how we can voluntarily come out of samsara. Wisely, we can come out of samsara. So these are so well indicated there in the form of 12 links of dependent origination. Okay, so it says that there's no ignorance. The text reads, there's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to including no aging and death. Ignorance is the first in 12 links, and the 12th one is the aging and death. So ignorance giving rise to the karma, karma giving rise to the consciousness giving rise to name and form giving rise to the 5 sources, giving rise to the contact, giving rise to the feeling, giving rise to the grasping, a craving, grasping, existence, and then the birth and aging and death. So these 12 links, you can undo them also. If you lead a life in the normal way without seeing emptiness, you cannot undo. Automatically, the cycle will be perpetuated. Whereas if you see emptiness, the way explained before, you wake up and the ignorance is terminated. Once the ignorance is terminated, whole wheel stops. Your samsara stops. Your misery stops. The cycle of the miseries will stop. Okay. No extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there's no suffering, origination, the Four Noble Truths now. Similarly, there's no suffering, origination, cessation of the path. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. We don't have the attainment. We don't have the attainment to Buddhahood. Whereas the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, they have the attainment of the wisdom of emptiness, compassion, bodhicitta, and the realizations. But how do they exist? We, without having any attainment, is also dependent originated. They are not independently real. And even the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're becoming having the attainments is also by dependent origination, which means that we can also, by looking for the proper causes and conditions dependent on which these attainments happen, we can also become one like them. Yes, this is the whole the principle of dependent origination. This is where the hope lies. We don't have to remain as ordinary beings all the time. We don't have to remain as with the fears, depression, stress, anxiety all the time. We can get out of this to become one like the fearless. Oftentimes the Buddha is referred to as the lion. Buddha's teachings are referred to as the lion's roar, for the reason that what he speaks is so fearless. Fearless because he's so confident of the knowledge that he acquired. So we can also reach that level, provided we can see emptiness driven by the force of bodhicitta. Okay, but all these attainments, non-attainments, they are not truly real. Because they are not truly real, they are dependently real. They are dependently real. Those who have not attained these qualities cannot make to attain these qualities in the future. Okay. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Okay. So up to this point, we have finished the practice associated with the path primarily. That is the path of meditation. Now from this, Shariputra, therefore, so from this is the path of normal learning. Gate, parasana, bodhi, swaha. So from this path, Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection wisdom, the mind without obscuration and thus without fear. So this is explaining the fifth path of normal learning. So this we'll do tomorrow. And okay, before we wind this up for today, If you have 1 or 2 questions, we have next class at 4 o'clock. Okay, we have 20 minutes before I have to go for the next class. 1 or 2 questions if you have. Raise hands if you have. Okay. Changjubla.
Geshe, I have one question relating to today's teachings. Basically, the question is that we have to learn, uncondition ourselves from seeing everything from the mind of ignorance and seeing its ultimate truth. That means we have to remove the subjectivity in our vision, and we have to see everything as objective. That is the core message that you have given. But the question is that in practice, our entire existence is subjective. Our entire dealing with the world is subjective. Even if we keep emptiness of things in mind, and even if we try to see the world from a different light, the world does not see us from that light, and therefore there are things that happen which are beyond one's control. Emotions arise, and everything comes back to square one. The question is, how do we try and remain focused without getting affected by the emotions that keep on repeating, because once they arise, they're beyond our control.
Okay, what Tupten Changjubla is saying is that we are so vulnerable everywhere, that things are so conducive, like non-conducive for our spiritual growth. Everything is so, is there, as well, like the demons are waiting there to make us ever vulnerable. In other words, we are like small children. This is what he's saying. We're vulnerable small children. So what do small children do? Age 2, 3, 4, 5? They should be always with the parents. They should be always with the parents. What Jimbala said is, what Tupten Changjula said is very true. We're all like small children. You wake up, you see things are objectively real, as truly real. And emotions are triggered. You sleep, you dream, objectively real. 24 hours, we are in the grip of the ignorance of seeing this objectively real. We are like small children, so vulnerable. Okay. Because we are so vulnerable, we are like small children. So what do the small children do? Do they remain, or do they always remain like small children? No. There's a phase when they're small children. When they're small children, what do? They're always with their parents. They're always with their parents. So therefore, in France, be always with Kalachakra Center, right? Don't be independently there, right? You will be swept away by the current of the samsara. Always be associated with some centers. Some centers, they are like your parents. Be with good friends, spiritual Dharma friends. This is known as Sangha. And those others, don't worry, even though you may not have Kalachakra, you have Tibet House, don't worry, come. Right? Always associate with yourself. Always treat yourself as a small child. I'm so weak, I'm so vulnerable. Anything can they harm me in any ways. I'm so vulnerable. So seek the support of umbrella of some centers. And Kalachakra Center is a very good center. So Kalachakra Center, Nalanda, Vajrayogini are there in France. They are so good. So associate yourself with some centers, and always look for good friends, real Dharma friends. For example, here in Tibet House, with the Nalanda Master's course, we have about 460 students. Nalanda Diploma course, this is the 3rd year. For 3rd year, we have about 900 students. And the second batch, last year's batch, about 800 students. And before there were 600 students. And these students, particularly, I would say the last year was particularly one thing that I noticed, that the people, they create some kind of Sangha among themselves. They keep connected. they keep connected, they support each other, which is so good. One, so always with the, say, in other words, your mind should be habituated, your mind should be turned towards Heart Sutra and so forth. For that, you need reminders. Who would be the best person to remind is your friends into Dharma. So this is so important, and associate with yourself with some, Dharma centers, good Dharma centers. Kalachakra Center is amazingly good Dharma. The center, there are some members there who are more permanently there. Just be associated with them, and naturally your mind will start to flow towards virtue. This is how we can expect to grow. This is so important, particularly as beginners. Don't stay yourself separately. Always be connected with the people who are into Dharma. This is so important. Okay, thank you. We'll stop here. Now we have the next class. We'll stop here and we'll do the end prayer. Stanzel Hajjullah will help us to do it.
Hello. Thank you, Venerable Geshe. Dedication prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful, Jundazigdan Yato, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samandabhadra do realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanchu sem cho rinpo che ma ke pana ke gyur chi ke vanya pa me paya kone kondu pe varsho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not a reason arise and go, and may that which is a reason not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realization. May I, in all life, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path: renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is usefully explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice to perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my life, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages in the path. May I quickly attain the stage of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Now we'll recite the Heart Sutra mantra twice. Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam gate bodhi swaha tyatha Om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhi swaha tyatha Om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhi swaha. Thank you so much.